This is Gemara Metziah, Daf Kof Tes. I'm only the very top of Kof Tes Amud Aleph at the Mishnah. Teaches the Mishnah, continuing the theme of this parak to last few daf, which is Hamekabel Sada Mechaverei. Someone who leases a field, but over here it's only for Lishanim. What does Lishanim Mu'atais, a few years, mean in the world of halacha? Says the Tabrashi, this means less than 7 years. Teaches the Mishnah, Lo Yizarenu Pishtan, you're not allowed to plant Pishtan, flax. Why not? This is an idea that we've had already. It's a new application of it. Says Rashi, Shezera Pishtan Machish Ba'aretz Harbe. It weakens, takes a big toll on the ground. It takes 7 years to fully rejuvenate. Similarly, teaches the Mishnah, and he has no rights to the beams of the sycamore trees for the similar reason as Rashi says, it's an eat siraku, you cut down the branches for a building. But continues the Mishnah, what if Kibla Himenu Zayin Shanim? Zayin Shanim. If you did at least a field for 7 years, then Shanari Shaini Zaranu Bishtan Vishlai Bikari Shikma. Already from the first year, you could plant and you have rights to the sycamore trees because you're going to be in this field for the duration of a full 7 years. Says the Gemara, Amar Abaye, the Mishnah taught us that if you lease a field for less than 7 years, you're not allowed to take the sycamore trees. But teaches Abaye, but the shvach shikma, the growth, the improvements that happened to the sycamore trees, as Rashi points out, he lemaiso worked the field for these years. Therefore, when he's going to leave, we have to evaluate what's the field, what were the improvements, and that he does get. Shitas Abaye. Rava Amar, no. Afilu b'shach shikma nami ein loy. So machlekes Abaye and Rava, that whenever we have a short-term lease, do we say that you have no rights at all in these sycamore trees due to the fact you're only going to be in the field for less than 7 years, says Rava, or no, you only can cut down the tree, but the improvements to them you would get. Meisvei asked the Gemara and Shitas Rava, Mekabel Sadeh Mechaveroi, V'giaz Manalotze Shamin Lo, we evaluate. Says the Gemara, what's his price referring to? My love, is it not referring to Shamin Lo B'Shvach Shekma? Kashan Rava, who says you don't get the Shvach Shekma? Lo, Shamin Lo Yeraka V'Silka Yeraka. Excuse me, Shamin Lo Yeraka V'Silka. The vegetables, the beets, that's what you evaluate. Says Yeraka V'Silka? Nekar V'Nishkol. What are you evaluating? The beets, the veggies, you get to take. Says the Gemara, B'Delay Mata Yema Deshuka. Talking about a case where the market day did not yet arrive, and therefore he rather leave the crop because he doesn't want them. So then we evaluate it for him. No Kashan Rava with a teretz. Tashima, another Kashan Rava. 10 lines down, the first one line is Mata Yema. Hamekabel Sada Mechaveroi. Vigi Ashvies, and Shemitah comes. Shaman Lo Shvies. What do? Shaman Lo, we evaluate for him. Says more, whoa, one sec. Shvies. Mika Mafka Ara. Shvies, remove the land. What do you mean? The halach of Shemitah is you just can't work the field. It's not that it goes back to the owner. Says Gemara, you're right. Yoivel. Yoivel does indeed the fields go back. Then what's the halacha? Shamin Lai, we do assess for him. We assess to him because the field goes back. Says Gemara, 1 second. Vakati. Yoivel mi mafka kablanis litzmitzos. Kablanis. Does Yoivel remove a land that was leased? Litzmitzos Amar Achmana. For perpetuity, says the pasuk, a field that is bought, that goes back by Yovel. Perhaps counterintuitive, but a field that's only leased does not go back in Yovel. Elaima, says the Gemara. Temp number 3, what this Bryce is referring to, which will eventually morph into Kasha and Rava. Elaima, says the Gemara. You bought it. Then Shamin Loi. And now here's the Kasha. Maybe you'll tell me means the veggies and the beets. Have keru or hefker, so can't mean that you're just evaluating the produce. Elalav, so what must it mean that you're evaluating? Shvach shekma. So we have a kasha and Rava. Tergama Abaye aliba de Rava. So Abaye comes along and he answers for Rava. Shiny, awesome. That Bryce is different. Why? Damar Kra, 5 lines from the white lines. V'yatza mimchar bayis. Says the pasuk, a field that goes out in the Yovel year. Mimkar chayzer. From here we learn out only that was sold goes back. Shvach einoi chayzer. So there's a special diuk in the pasuk Zeres HaKosher that teaches us that the shvach would not go back, but it's not a kasha and Rava. Says the Gemara, why don't we learn out from there? And then that would be a kasha and Rava. Says the Gemara, there's a full-fledged sale, and Yovel just undoes it, but there wouldn't be a kasha on Rava, who is discussing a case of Amakabel, a case of Kablanos, of leasing a field just for less than 7 years. Continues the Gemara, so we had 2 kashas and Rava. Both of them, the Gemara deflects, and with that, the Gemara moves on to a new topic. Rav Papa Kibal Ara Laspas, excuse me, I shouldn't say a new topic, I should say a story. Rav Papa accepted a land to plant aspasta. Katchu Bai Tali, says the Gemara. Katchu Bai Tali planted these palm saplings, excuse me, not Katchu, not planted. Katchu Bai Tali, Tali, the palm saplings sprouted. Kika mistalek, when he was leaving at the end of his lease, Amar lo, Rav Papa said to the owner, Havli shvacha, give me the improvements. What are the improvements? Those are the tali, these palm saplings that grew. So Amar le Rav Shisha Brei Rav Idi Rav Papa, Elameyat Diklavi Alim. But are you going to tell me if you had leased a field for palm trees and it grew thicker, Hachanami Debayamar Shvache, would you want the improvements of the tree? Of course not. So too, you shouldn't get the improvements to the land for that which grew. And the premise of this question is that if you rent or you lease a field for the fruits, so you get the fruits, you don't get the improvement that happens to the trees. So too over here, the fact that these palm saplings grew, there's no reason you should get the shvach of them. Amar lei. So Rav Papa responds to Rav Shisha, Hasam lavadaiti dahachi nachis. Over there, the renter in such a scenario, like we spoke out, only went in to get the payrois. He never fathomed to get the improvement to the tree. So you're right, he doesn't. But I know, he says, I went in with such a mindset that I would get the improvement of the saplings that grew. So says the Gemara, Kiman, whom does our Papa go like? And this, of course, is what pulls us full circle back to our original machlekes. Abaye and Rava. Abaye that said shvach shikma yeshloi, Rava said not. Kiman, says the Gemara in the 4th wide line. Kebaye damar shvach shikma yeshloi. Says the Gemara, no raya. Afilu tema karava. It could be that we're even going with shita of Rava. Hasam lesle pseida. Hacha ika pseida. Over there by the sycamore trees, there's no loss. There's no loss. Whereas over here, there's a loss, and therefore it could be in this case, it'll work even according to Shitas Rava. Meaning normally by the sycamores, Rav Papa held, we'll hold like Rava that Shvach Shikma Einlai. Over here, because there was a loss, that's why Rav Papa felt he was entitled to the saplings that grew. Amar lei, my psetzcha. What loss was there? Yada das basta. a place for growing espasta, meaning that you wanted to plant espasta and there was a tree there instead. Shkol yada espasta v'zil. So take that. That's the payment that you should get. Why are you claiming that you should get the value of the trees? You should get that which you lost out. So Amar Le Rav Papa responds, Korkama Rishka Ravoi. Says Rav Papa, I could have raised some chashva items, garden saffron. That's why I want the full value. Amar Le, Rav Shisha's not done. Goes So what have you just showed us? You showed us that you planned on taking the produce and leaving, and not leaving anything in the field. So you know what? Shakal korkama rishka v'zel. So you're right. Take your quote unquote garden saffron and leave. Ella ein lacha ella deme'etzim bilvad. You have no claim other to the value of the wood, but not to the actual live trees. Meaning, from the fact that you said that you could have planted the saffron shows that you would have taken it with you. So you want to take it with you? Great. So take, quote unquote, the trees of these saplings with you, meaning that you don't get the value of a live growing tree. You get the value of whatever wood of the palm sapling you would have taken had you been able to take it when you left. Says the Gemara, Ravibi, Bar Abaye Kabul Aram, Vader Le Mishunita. He leased a field, and what happened was his rocks grew around the borders. Kadchu Be Zardasa. Trees grew through the rocks. Kika Mistalik, when Ravivi was leaving, Amar Lo Havli Shvachai. He said, give me my payment for improving the land. Amra Papa Mishum Tasita Mimulai Amri Mili Muliaisa. Said Rav Papi, what? Because you come from a place of Mumim, from Eli Hakayin Gadol, you say things with Mumim. Afilu Rav Papa Layamar. Where did Rav Papa say that you get the value of the trees? When there was a Pseida. And therefore you can't. You have no right to anything. Continues the Gemara, the two dots, about 20 lines from the bottom of Kuf Tesam and Aleph. Rav Yosef Avaleyahu Shitala. Rav Yosef had a planter who planted for him. Shachiv v'shaveh chamisha chasvanasa. This guy died, and his 5 son-in-laws came in and said they want to continue their father-in-law's job. Amar Ade Nachad. Hashna Chamisha. Till now, there was only 1 worker. Now there will be 5. Until now, the workers did not rely on one another. There was only 1 boss. He was worried about too many workers would yield and no one would take responsibility. If you want to take your payment for that with your father-in-law, improve the land, that you could do. And if not, I'm going to tell you that you get nothing. Why are you going to get nothing? Because Rav Huda taught us, Rav Nachman taught us, a planter who dies, the heirs get absolutely nothing. So I'll be nice. I'll give you something. But if not getting anything, but says the Gemara, it's not true. Rav Yehuda really never said such a din. And finally, one more story. There was a planter who said to the owner, if I cause the loss, I'm going to leave. If sitting, guess what? He caused the loss. Amar Rav Yehuda. Said Rav Yehuda, Mistalik below shvach. He leaves without getting any shvach. Rav Kana Amar Mistalik bought v'shakul shvacha. Umaydi Rav Kana di Amar Yipasina Mistalik no below shvacha. If he articulated that if I mess you up, I'm going to leave without the shvach, then ain't achanami Mistalik below shvacha. Rava argues and he says, Rava Amar Asmachta, of course. We've learned this already. Asmachta loy kanya. Therefore, you'll get everything. But I asked the Gemara, the Rava Maishnah Me'odet Tanan, how is this different than anything that we learned in the Mishnah? If I don't plant, if I leave the field, I'm going to pay you the mitav. And there he actually has to. Says the Gemara, also my da'afsin mishalim. Over there, that which he caused the owner to lose, that he has to pay is halcha my da'afsin meneichen lei. Over here, that which he caused the loss, he just deduct from his payment. Ve'idach avinna lei. And he'll still have to give him. That's why over here, even though you're right, it is a case of an asmachta, but it will be more binding, and that's the reason why he'll be able to collect his wages. Continues the Gemara with another story. Runya Shetala. Runya was a planter to Ravina of Ravina Havai. Ifsid Salke, Ifsid caused the loss. Salke, Ravina removed him. Aslik made the Rava Amr Lei Chazi Mar Maika Avidli. So Runya came to Rava and he said, "Look at the loss that Ravina's doing to me." Amar Le, Rava responded, Shabar of it. What do you mean? Ravina's doing what's right. Amar Le, Runya said, "Oh, it's hard to me, but he don't warn me." Amar Le, Lo Saricha Lahasrois. He don't have to warn you. Why not? Rava Letamei, Amar Rava in the last line of Kaftasam and Aleph. Mikri Dardiki, teacher of children. Shetala, one who plants. Tabacha, butcher. Va'omna, one who does. Bris Milas, as we turn over to Kavtesa Mebeis, Visafar Masan, the town scribe. All of these people, says Rava, Kulan Kimutarin, Va'imdin Dami, they're all considered as have been warned that you're able to fire them without any warning due to the responsibility that they have. Klala de Milsa, says the Gemara, what is the klal? Any time that there's one who has a job, that if he causes a loss, it's irreversible. The loss is something that cannot be gone back. It's considered that he's warned prior, and if he causes such a loss, he's able to be dismissed from his job. Says the Gemara, Ushetala, the third line of Kuftesa Midbeis. He came demanding the improvements he did to the field. Why he wants to go up to Eretz Yisrael? Also, with Rabba Bar Shmuel, Amr Lahu, came to Rabba Bar Shmuel, who said to them, Havli Shvachi? Okay, you got to give it to him. Amr Rabba Iu Shvach Ashmech, Iu Ashmech, Aralei Ashmech. Said Rabba, what do you mean? He improved and the land didn't improve. Meaning, the land was a critical ingredient in the improvement. So why is he gaining all the shvach? Amar lei, so our Shmuel said back to Rava, no, I didn't mean the whole thing. I meant a half kamin alacha. Amar lei, Rava says, I didn't have Ishakal Balabayis Palga Vishtala Palga. Till now, the Balabayis said calf and the planter could have Hashta Bailam Esav Minsala Risa. But now that he's leaving, he's going to have to get even more? That doesn't make any sense. Amar le, Rav Shmuel responded, Riva de Shvach Kamina. You're right, he'll get more of the Shvach, not of everything. So, Rav Asher made my Riva to Danka. What does it mean, a quarter, which is actually a 6? Why? Damar Rav Minyumi Breder Rav Nechumi. Pasra de Shakal Shtala. Palga varisa palga tilsa, in a place where the plant takes half and the aris takes a third. If the shtola wants to leave, he gets his profits. Why? Why do we do that? So that Baal Bayis doesn't lose anything. So that he gets a quarter, which is in actually a 6 of the whole value Shabir. Eli Amr, but if you're going to tell me, Reva Mamish, Kamamti Lei, say the Baal Bayis is losing out, Palga Danka, half of a Danka, which is a 12. Amar Le Ravacha, Brit Rav Yisrael Ravashi, Valei Malei, what do you mean? And Mansa Dilachav Le Larise, Vana Mansa Dili, my Divina Avina Bay. But let the planter tell the owner, and you, you take your 3/4 and give the portion to the aris. Vana and I, my portion might be navinale. I'll take what I want. So why is he not allowed to do that? So Amar Ravashi responded, Ki matis l'shchitas kachim. So actually, then you come back and ask me, A good question, but he did not have an answer. Now the Gemara pauses to delve a little bit deeper into this halacha gufa. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Yumi, prayed around the Chumi. Ba'asra the shakal shalt shtala palgav arisa tilsa. Planter takes half and the others takes a third. Hi shtala. So now says the Gemara, this planter, the Bailis Taluke Yavina Lei, Shavacha takes his Shvachum Salikmai. Why can't the lives in Balabais? Amar Rav Nechumi. So explain the Rav Nechumi, Kupa Saba. Palga, an aged vine, Palga, the planter gets half. Shitva Nara, if the river washed away the vineyard, then river he only gets 1/4. Similarly, he gave his pardes, he gave his vines to as a mashkin to his friends for a long lesser shanim v'kash l'chamisha shanim. Abaya Amar, Peya Rava Amar Kana. So Abaya and Rava, how do we view these vines at the end of the day? Are they considered peiros? Therefore, the lender takes it or not, or is it considered karen? If you like, what karka vuaychel peiros? So Machlokes Rava and Abaye. Well, I'll stop over here. I'll pick it up from this Machlokes in Mirza Hashem.